Welcome to the hot seat, where I'm your host Terrordome. We sitting here throwing all the hot topics right at you, coming at you direct, not doing nothing behind closed doors, putting it out there. So let's get into it. I just want to speak on 3 topics. The first topic I want to speak on, as far as I'm not going to say a lot of people have been complaining, but tuning into the chat, I noticed that a lot of guys, this has put my attention because a lot of guys is discussing it in the chat, in the Madden community. Sim style football. This became a great topic in our league in a matter of probably like the past couple weeks. A lot of guys want to talk about some football, I watched the NFL game yesterday. Actually, I watched a couple NFL games yesterday. The Browns and the Colts. Besides both of them teams being horrible on both paper and the field, the Browns actually, looked good, but we ain't gonna talk about that. We here to talk about some football. And a lot of guys keep mentioning, some style football, pass, run ratio, things like that. The Browns yesterday came out, and this is the real NFL football game here. Came out yesterday and passed the ball 47 times. It only rushed the ball 19 times. 7 out of those 19 times it was a quarterback scramble. So that means that there wasn't a designed run play. That's pretty much the pocket break it down, quarterback scrambled out, gained some yards. Now I repeat, they came out and passed the ball 47 times. Alright? Now, the Seahawks, they played against the Tennessee Titans yesterday. And, I watched that game. Also, the Seattle Seahawks came out and passed the ball 49 times. A lot of guys probably sitting there listening saying, well, they got Russell Wilson. Why not pass the ball 49 times? Yeah, I understand that. But it's still, they passed the rock 49 times. They was one pass away from passing the rock damn near 50 times. All right? And they rushed the ball 18 times. Also, 7 out of those 18 rushing attempts was also a quarterback scramble. Now, when you mention, some football and playing as close to real life, it just rattles me because noticing a couple things from this game, from the 2 games, just to point out a couple things is, 1, that's not some football if we was talking some football. 2, that's not, even coming in comparison with the pass run ratio. 3, I noticed that pretty much them 2 head coaches did 1 or 2 things. Well, no, actually, not even 1 or 2 things. They did 1 thing. They studied the defense that they was going up against, noticed weak points and whatever flaws of that defense that they was going up against, and they came out with a game plan pretty much basically to prepare their team and put their team in the best position to win. So when guys are, complaining about certain users coming out, and sticking to a certain game style, it's not that the user, well, I'm not going to say that it's the user, but, guys running the rock 100% of the time, that's just straight. I don't think that's some football at all, so I'm not vouching for that. What I'm vouching for is the guys that's coming out and they noticing things heading into the game, and while they're in the game, if you can't stop the run, why would I sit there and continue to pass the ball? No, I'm going to run a rock down your throat until you stop me. So, leaning on towards, I respect the run pass ratio. I respect that hands down. I think that's a perfect thing to do that keeps us away from arcade ball. But a lot of users have to stop trying to lean and use that as a crutch as far as not being able to adjust their game. Stop sitting here trying to use certain things in this Madden as a crutch. Just learn how to adjust, because as I stated, in those 2 games, and these are real life games, that pretty much the quarterbacks came out and they just was flat out slinging a rock. Another thing that I noticed is, man, a lot of guys are saying that the zones are too tight. Quarterbacks can't make the proper throws. Cornerbacks are reacting to the ball. Well, I ain't gonna say all cornerbacks, but bum cornerbacks are attacking the ball way too fast. Now, just to speak on that, another fact. You're not gonna come out, passing the ball 15 plus yards every single play. This right here is a stone cold hard fact right here. Did you know that the average quarterback in the NFL passes the rock a total of between 6 to 10 yards per pass play? 6 to 10 yards, not 15 to 25, not 15 to 30. So a lot of guys are saying, oh, the zones are too tight. The cornerbacks are reacting too fast. No, you're not. Get back on some football. You're not playing some football. Once again, I repeat, this is not Madden 17, where you could come out and you could sling the rock as much as you want, and if you got a monster wide receiver, he's going to go get it. No, they adjusted that in this Madden 18, and I think that this is causing a lot of guys a lot of problems because they're not making the proper reads. See, they thinking that, you know, in Madden 17, playing that, to me, flat out, the pass defense was horrible. The zone defense, horrible. Pass rush, horrible. Man coverage, horrible. And this Madden is not that great, but what they are doing is they're evening the playing field. Now, the wide receivers not reacting to the ball, yes, that's something that they need to fix, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about these passing windows. Guys out here want these passing windows to stay open and be as big as Serena Williams' ass. That's not going to happen. You know, you have to make quick reads, analyze the defense, make the correct reads. Now, does the game sometimes F us over? Yes. But for the most part, after watching some of these games, I just noticed that guys are not making the correct reads. How can you force the ball to, say, a Dez Bryant or a Julio Jones if you have the safety playing over top and cornerback under and one cornerback on them? That's not going to work. You have to learn how to make the proper reads. And I guarantee you, if you sit back and actually watch some of your films and watch some of your games, you will notice that it's not Madden, it's you, because you're the pretty much the person in control of the quarterback where he's throwing the rock at. You can't sit there and say, oh man, Madden came out of the TV and pressed X, square, triangle, circle, made me pass the ball to that receiver, you know. But you know, guys, just learn how to adjust, man. Adjust your game, you know, hit the lab, whatever you got to do. Go back, watch tape, whatever. Just learn how to make the correct reads. And I'm telling you, man, the windows, they're not tight. It's just that the simple fact that some of you guys don't have the patience, or some of you guys just don't have the time due to the lack of poor offensive line or whatever. Just, I guarantee, if you go back to some of your games, I'm not saying that the game is perfect, but I'm telling you, if you go back, look at some of your tape, and watch the videos, I guarantee you're going to notice that you're making a poor read, and you're going to notice the guy that was wide open, that you didn't have the time to see, and you could have made the correct read. Another thing that I noticed about our league is a lot of guys are saying that, you know, number one question for the past couple weeks is the Dynasty turning into a run league? You know, can't stop the run. You know, a lot of guys are just continuing to run the rock. Now, for one, I'm not with guys coming out running the ball 100% of the game. But with that being said, if a user comes to me before I play my game and tell me, yo, Chris, yo, Terrordome, listen, I'm running the rock down your throat 100% of the game, that's going to trigger something inside of me called pride, and I'm going to come out and I'm going to want to stop the run. I'm going to not want to lose the game due to the run. Now, some users are saying, oh, well, you know, I'm being sucked into my blocks. I mean, I'm being sucked into the, you know, the blockers, this and that. I understand that. I respect that because it happened to me. So I understand where you guys are coming from. But what about the users that is running the ball? Because the run game is also affecting the users trying to bounce outside. The jukes are a little bit harder. The cuts are a little bit harder. There has been times when I was trying to cut outside, but it made me run into my blocker. So you can't sit there and say that you being jerked around on the defensive side of the ball and the offense is just running scot-free. Now, there's a couple things I want to point out about the run game in our league. You know, we got first of all, we have a top. Just to talk about a couple games as far as with the, you know, you can't stop the run. All right, we got Joe Mixon. You know, he was held to 30 yards rushing week 1. 30 yards rushing week 1. All right, we got Le'Veon Bell, which is a flat out beast on this man. He was held multiple games under 50 yards rushing. I don't know how to pronounce the Washington Redskins running back name, but HB30, we all know, if you new to this mad cycle, we all know he loves to run the rock. he was held to 66 yards rushing. We have DeMarco Murray, who also was held under 50 yards rushing in multiple games. Now, with that list, we have an explosive rookie, easily 2 top 5 running backs in the league. We got the league's MVP leader on this list, and all of these runners were held under 100 yards. So, with that being said, if these users, whoever these users was playing, if they came out and held these runners under 100 yards rushing, why can't you? So is Madden picking out of a hat who they choosing to let teams come out and run the rock over? I'm confused, and it boils back to the point that I'm trying to make is it's all about adjusting your game. This man, from playing from week 1 now to week 14, I learned a couple things. This man is not checkers. Madden 17 was pretty much checkers all day long. Guys knew the pieces that you needed, as far as if you had a big body receiver that had XYZ amount of traits, whatever, you can just pretty much throw the ball up and dominate with any receiver. If you had a fast middle linebacker, you can sit there and cut off majority of the middle of the field. If you had fast cornerbacks, it didn't matter what their awareness was. It didn't matter what anything was. As long as they were fast, they was sitting there blocking down wide receivers. This Madden 18, this game is not perfect. Don't get me wrong, because like I said, I'm not sitting here trying to preach and make it seem like it's perfect. But with that being said, this is a game that I am learning that this is chess. You cannot come out week after week after week after week with the same exact game style, because what's going to happen is Madden's going to bite you in your ass. Learn how to switch it up. Switch your style up. Whatever's not working, switch it up. You cannot, just to hit back on a couple things, you cannot come out and think that a quarterback that is not in the elite group is going to make key passes in tight windows. For example, looking at the DML internet total list, I noticed there's, there's about 4 to 5 elite quarterbacks at the bottom of that list. Now, with that being said, we have Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady has a total of 2,381 yards passing, 62% completion rate, 18 interceptions. Now, let me read his stats off to you again. For guys that's saying that, the zones are too tight. He has a total of 2,381 yards passing, 62 completion rate, and 18 INTs. All right, let's go to another quarterback that's an elite quarterback, Russell Wilson. He has 1,700 yards passing, 1,739 yards passing, a 60% pass completion rated, 24 INTs, and a 7.4 passing yards average. You also have Aaron Rodgers on this list, who also has a total of 2,710 yards passing, 65% completion rate, and he averaged a total of 7.8 yards per pass with 24 INTs. And these are all elite quarterbacks. And I played against pretty much all 3 of these users. Besides SJ, who loves to throw the ball deep. He I don't know what it is that he got going on out there in New England. Those little guys just know how to make plays deep. But what playing these 3 users, they take what the defense gives them. If the ball is open deep, they go deep. If it's short, they go short. You guys got to learn how to do this, man. Just learn how to adjust your game, as far as running a rock, passing it on defense. Stop trying to use certain things as a crutch. Now, this is, like I said, a lot of guys probably going to be sitting there, wanting to fire shots back. But if the shoe don't fit, don't even worry about it. But just please adjust your game, man. Don't let this Madden cycle be the Madden cycle where you pretty much blaming everything on Madden, because Madden 17 you went through the same thing. Madden 19 you're gonna go through the same thing. It's all about adjustments. Also, just to piggyback on the run game, let's dig a little deeper into that. You know, because I had some things here that I left out that I wanted to mention in that. All right, real life football. I noticed the thing. Yeah, and I know in this show I said real life football because, you know, we compare sim style football to, you know, the best thing as far as going to making the Madden experience as close as to real life as possible. When you run the rock, a lot of guys saying that, you know, I'm getting sucked into my blocks, or the blocks, the running lanes is just ridiculous. When you're running the ball, okay, the number one thing that plays into part is fatigue. 9 times out of 10, I repeat, 9 times out of 10, fatigue is going to affect the defensive line more than the offensive line. All right, I repeat, fatigue is going to affect 9 times out of 10 the defensive line more than the offensive line. Now, with that being said, running lanes open up due to offensive linemen being able just to lean onto the defensive line. Now, a lot of guys saying, well, you know, it's man. Okay, man may mess you up. Let's say I'll give you 3 out of 10. 3 times out of 10, I give it to you. But you gotta remember here, man, I just gave you a solid list of multiple running backs that are good on paper and on the field that was held under 100 yards rushing. Maybe it's not Madden, maybe it's you. Maybe it's you hitting the wrong gap, which can cause a big running lane. Maybe it's you that's missing a block, which in real life, if you do miss a tackle or mistake the wrong gap, and the offense 9 times out of 10 will make you pay for that. So let's stop and let's get away from it's man. Now, like I said, the game is not perfect, but let's get away from that. Let's get to being competitive, you know, because like I said, every Madden is going to come out with a new thing for us to complain about, and that's not what we about. We not a league that's about complaining. We're about bringing the pain, and we're about competing. So let's get back on that note, man. And on that note, man, I'm out.